Hi, I'm Jonny Brennan. This is my brother Elliott Brennan. We're here in Chandler, Arizona, and today we're going to talk to you a little bit about treatment management. So to start off with, I think it's important that we recognize when a patient comes in and we're about to present treatment to that patient, a lot of time, money, and energy has gone into getting to that moment. And it's a critical moment because all of that time, money, and energy that we've invested in that opportunity, if not done well, could result in nothing, and it kind of is a complete waste. So the kind of thinking that we want going into that opportunity is much like a sales opportunity. The patient is a lead that's been invested in with marketing and messaging and branding, and by the time they come in and they're sitting and we're ready to present treatment, they're now a new patient, and we're trying to cross that divide to have that patient restore. Ultimately, our goal is clinical in nature. It's to restore their oral health. And sometimes we as dentists jump around and get a little wishy-washy at the money components involved because we're so, in our heart of hearts, we want their oral health back on track. But as business owners, as people with practices that have to actually grow or sustain, we need to consider that this is a sales opportunity as well. And so back to that lead coming in and all of the time and energy we've put into it, what we present in our treatment needs to match very closely to what we've marketed and our messaging that we've put out all the way up to that point in time. The common barriers that patients experience to accepting treatment should be some of those that we considered when we were getting messaging out and branding our practice. That patients generally, they want to know about the money involved. If I understand the treatment and I value that, that's another barrier. But even then, if I don't have the money, if I can't find a way to finance it, then it doesn't work. So money is a common barrier, fear, time, all of those things that we're now familiar with that can keep a patient from just saying, yes, sign me up, schedule me, and I want to do the treatment. So that's kind of key number one, is that we recognize that if we've done our homework, if we've done our messaging right, we've prepared the treatment to be accepted by the patient. We've already done the work of encountering those barriers, distinguishing ourselves, and showing that patient ahead of time that we're the right practice for you because money, we're going to be affordable, or we've distinguished ourselves as that. Or time, we're going to work with your busy schedule. Or fear, anxiety, some of these things that we know are barriers, we do the work ahead of time, and that way when we sit down to treatment plan present, those aren't the same level of barrier.
Good. So this is the first time that your path with your patient has crossed, really. They are here because they want dental treatment, whether it's even just getting a cleaning or whether it's extensive dental treatment, whether they're in pain. And you're here to do dental treatment. But so often when we present treatment, that's where we part ways and we go our different directions. So we need to figure out ways to overcome these obstacles. In our office, we found that the way it was being done for years and years wasn't working very well anymore. And I don't know if that's that society was changing with the way things are purchased with online commerce, or if it was the changes insurance has had upon the dental industry. But we found that it didn't sound successful like it had been done years before. So we were thinking, what is different about the way that dentistry is presented or treated versus other services? And I'll give an example. In my personal life, part of my roof fell off this last year. Didn't really plan or expect for that. I knew that I had a 30-year-old house and I needed a new roof, but I didn't expect a whole chunk to fall off on the ground after a storm. And I sat there looking at it and I knew that was a $10,000 to $15,000 bill that just fell off right there. I have to replace my whole roof. So I had them come out, and it was very interesting to watch a couple bids come and the different things that they did. One came, and they showed me the different roof paper they use, and they gave me all these options, and I had a $16,000 option, a $10,000 option, and he recommended the $13,000 option. Then they talked about financing and all of these different ways to go about it, and somebody else came and was very trustworthy, had good reviews. Just the way that they diagnosed what was needed in my roof and how they presented it to me was very different. This isn't what caused us to go this route, but it mimics very well what we came to understand with dentistry. The public now, when their roof falls off and they have this catastrophe of $10,000 to $15,000 they weren't planning, whether it's that sum or whether it's $1,000 or $300, the public is now purchasing and doing services differently than they did in the past. So the way that we used to get it, of a treatment plan printed out from your practice management software that has their name, their insurance company information, the deductible, the amount per procedure, the procedure code, this form that you would sit down and usually have an office administrator sit and explain for 10 minutes what the different codes meant and what visits were happening and how, that doesn't really fly for people anymore. I didn't need to know how to replace my roof. I needed to know what is it going to cost and when is it going to happen. So in our office, we've translated from what our practice management software pumps out for a treatment plan to what we're going to present to the patient. And the long short of it is that we display for the patient what monetary responsibility they have. We can dig into their insurance and talk about all the details, what their maximum is, what their deductible is, what the copay is on endo versus oral surgery versus restorative, but they don't care about that. They want to get to the end and we need to get money out of the way because they want treatment done. So we present for them what their insurance discounts and pays for them as a total sum, not procedure by procedure, what visits they have left and what their responsibility will be, and then we give them financial options. They can prepay to get a discount, and that's good for cash flow in the practice and from a business standpoint. They can finance it with us, and we do no interest, but some offices can charge interest for in-house financing plans, and then they can go external, whether it's Care Credit or other third-party financing programs, because more often than not, when somebody's roof falls off, a lot of people and Americans are living on credit in day-to-day, and so that's an option that they need. If you aren't presenting patients treatment like that, it's not the way that they're proceeding in every other aspect of their life and purchasing. And so automatically they give the reason, I got to go talk to my spouse. I got to go do this. I got to go do this. And on their way home, they get that ad for that iPhone. Can't tell you how many people have teeth rotting out of their mouths that are wearing Apple Watches. And I look at it and go, I can't afford an Apple Watch, but they can, yet they can't afford the $200 extraction that we're talking about doing. So it's important that we change our mindset on this, and we stop being rote in the way that we do this, and we connect with people on a personal level and give them options to complete the care.
So assuming we've done a great job with our treatment plan presentation, the patient accepts that treatment. We even go through, and our office is fantastic at delivering treatment. That's the least of our concerns, that clinically we're sound, that hopefully the process doesn't stop there. And I think that's one key component that I would still lump into this treatment management concept, that as we see the patient first and foremost, clinically, restoring oral health is our chief concern. But in order to do that, there are business components around that. As we see that patient going through, in a business way, through a sales cycle, through being a lead, getting introduced to our practice, sitting down, accepting this treatment, getting the treatment done, hopefully we don't just drop them there. They leave, their treatment's done, and then down the road, if and when something fails or they need additional work, that they come back to us. Part of the way that we can ensure that there is a continual check that not only is better for the oral health of the patient, that they're continually seeing the dentist and making sure we're looking in on things, but also from a revenue standpoint, from a business standpoint, that's our potential future customer base. And it encourages them, because they're constantly coming back and seeing us and keeping that relationship alive, to refer friends and family and others that do have needs, because, oh, I was just at the dentist last week. You should go to my dentist. They're exceptional. They have great XYZ. So the point being that the treatment management component doesn't end with them accepting treatment and even getting the treatment done, that we need to make sure we schedule that recare every time for that patient to come back. And as part of being successful in continuing to grow in a sustainable way, that they know every time I go in, I'm going to schedule my next visit.
Yeah, and the dollars that adds up to long-term is just, it's incalculable. The patients they drive in and the amount of money you get from that recare, you've got to take care of people and you've got to make sure that they're coming back. On that note, one last principle that I'd evaluate from time to time, and I learned this recently from an associate that we had come on board. It's the balance between a patient that comes in that has all this treatment and they have these fresh insurance maximums, and shearing the sheep, which means taking it for all it's worth, doing all the treatment, maximizing that insurance and one and done with that patient, versus planting seeds and treating them right and treating them like a person you want to hang around. You want to have a steady balance between the two of those, because you also don't want to waste time and money for the patient. If something's going to get more expensive, take more time, hurt more for them, you need to advance that and do same-day treatment or do treatment as soon as possible for the best interest of your practice and the best interest of the patient. But at the same time, don't look at each patient as a $1,500 maximum that you're just trying to bleed. Finding a steady balance between the two will grow your practice in the short term when you do same-day treatment when it's appropriate and you're saving time and money for you and the patient, as well as in the long term when you're looking at a patient and you're realizing that this is going to be a progressive thing over years, that maybe we turn over some old leaky amalgam fillings over 6 months, 12 months, 18 months rather than you need $1,500 next week. And on that note, I would say treatment planning and the revolution of it within our practice has been probably our greatest key to success. First, it was changing the sheet that we gave to the patient, explaining and summarizing treatment. And the second thing was putting treatment coordinators in place. And we didn't do them all in one day. We incrementally introduced these new things, and it's what really escalated our path of growth in our collections.